How did it come to this? What vicious cycle was fed all these years?
I had mastered the perfect art of smiling so that tears won't fall. It hurt more than I ever thought.
What potential remained trapped in darkness for lack of? Have we been too blessed to remember that we too needed a savior? That we too were once in darkness and without hope?
Be careful who you make memories of them, 'cause they can't last forever. Now I wish I had amnesia. I wish I could forget you. I should have listened to my mama, but all I have are bad memories. I wish I had a bad memory, but all I got are bad memories. Of you.
He entered into the mess when he didn't have to. So shouldn't we do the same? How can we reverse engineer the good life in Christ? Can we ask, what's the story behind this, or that, or this? And then get to work on writing that story into existence. It's like God has given us a vision of where the story could go, with beginning, ending, hero and all, but he's letting us write in the details. The how, the where, the who. So what story will you help write in Miami? The difference lies in you.
Hey, my name is Joab the Mornay, and you're watching the virtual Be the Story. I want to tell you guys a little bit about my story. Growing up as a Haitian kid, I didn't really grow up with effective youth ministry. So I kind of fell to the world with me and my friends, and we did a lot of things we wasn't supposed to do. But by the grace of God, He pulled me in, and as I grew in my faith with God, I became a youth minister. And I wanted to help out the kids that looked just like me and had my story. But even though I was willing, I didn't really have the skills to do it until I met Youth for Christ. Youth for Christ invested in me for free and trained me through their Miley program to be an effective youth minister. Then they let me volunteer in my own neighborhood so I could serve kids that look just like me. And now they've empowered me as a director at City Life Kicks. I am now the adult I needed when I was a kid. We believe that every student deserves the truth. And what is this truth? The truth that every kid was made on purpose, created for a purpose, and made with a purpose. This truth right here, we believe, can change the life of every student. Now let me take it even up a higher level. We believe that this truth can change our city. So I'm gonna challenge you for this Be the Story, that you would dream. Working with kids, we see how much kids dream for the stars. We want you to channel your inner child as you dream to see what happens when we all come together and be the story.
What's wrong with you? Get up. I'm sick of all this complaining all the time.
I am not putting up with this anymore. Putting up with what? I can't talk to people.
What if we could restore faith to the young people in our community? What if they found a place where they could discover purpose and meaning? Youth for Christ believes that authentic Christ-sharing mentorships hold the key to transforming a generation. Since 1944, Youth for Christ has been sharing the story of God's love with middle and high school students, teens without hope, purpose, or direction, teens who were getting overlooked or falling through the cracks, teens who would be the future of our city. We observe that as the gospel brings life to a young person's story, things change in a good way. That's why we're multiplying leaders to engage well over 4,000 youth per year, with at least half of them in authentic Christ-sharing mentorships. We want to break the cycle of crime by mentoring high-risk youth in juvenile justice centers. We want to bring wholeness to more youth in under-resourced neighborhoods through City Life Kicks and Catalyst Hip-Hop Centers. We want to see more youth have access to campus life programs at their schools. We want to expand our network of Christian partners to support youth and families. But what if we are only getting started? What if we could double our goal to serve 4,000 youth? We would be close to reaching a tipping point where the minority could influence and inspire the majority. You are a critical piece to this story. No matter who you are, you have a role in seeing this vision realized. We need hundreds of adults to rise up and invest in this generation. Imagine the possibility when together we connect teenagers to God's story and faith is restored to this generation. Leaders are born. Families are strengthened. Schools are safer. Communities are stronger. And with your help, the possibilities become reality.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Tia Diaz-Ballard, and I am the new Executive Director for Youth for Christ. Thank you. And I have the honor to follow in the footsteps of my dear friend and amazing mentor of Bonnie Rodriguez, who you so know. And Bonnie has now even stepped up more, and she's now on our board. And she is faithfully continuing to serve, and she's just a treasured part of our whole ministry. But I want to change gears for a little bit, because I've got some tough things to talk about today. I want to talk about some quotes that we learned, that we heard, that teens asked when they said, "What do you wish adults knew about you?" Let me share a few things. A junior boy said, "I wish you knew that at the age of 3, I started getting beaten. And at the age of 9, my grandpa died. After that, I got into trouble with the law and was put in many placement homes." It's hard to talk about that. A sophomore girl said, "I wish you knew I suffer from severe depression and think about giving up every day." And a senior boy said, "I wish you knew that I feel like nobody cares about me. Nobody cares. I look around and I see all the happy people, and I wonder what's going to happen to me." You know, during the pandemic, there was a 333% increase in intentional self-harm. 94% and 84% were the increases for anxiety and major depressive disorders, respectively. Incredible. The CDC reports that 1 out of 3 teens feel sad and hopeless. But worse yet, 1 out of 10 actually have a plan to kill themselves. It is devastating to think of the pain and anxiety our teens are feeling on a daily basis. But I've got good news. Heck, I've got great news, because you know why? We are changing those feelings. We're changing those statistics. We are proving to our youth that they are cared for, that they have a great purpose, and that they're not alone. We're giving them hope. So let me share another quote with you and compare this to what quotes were shared earlier. This is from an 8th grade girl, and she said, "I wish we had this every day. It's like free therapy." Amazing, amazing. So, you know what? Today you are going to meet some spectacular people whose lives have been powerfully and beautifully changed by Christ's love, but especially also by our Youth for Christ team, through Christ. But what's so amazing is that I also want you to know that we measure our success in relationships, because we know that that is what our teens lack the most, but it's also what they need the most. In the last 5 years, including the 2 years of the pandemic, over 21,000 youth connected to Youth for Christ. So it's just amazing. Yes. But I've got even better news, because when we help our youth, we're even helping more people above and beyond that. So let's think now about the single mother who works 2 jobs. She works so hard just to put food on the table for her family. And she used to be so worried because her son would come home after school when she was at work, and he would lock himself in his bedroom. And he would watch lots of questionable YouTube videos, and he would be online playing video games, where we know there are lots of predators out there lurking for kids like him. But now she's so relieved, because instead, he's at our City Life Kick Center, where he's got great role models, he's making new friends, and he's also learning fantastic life skills. It's amazing. But what about the teacher? The teacher who used to be so heartbroken every single day when she would go into her classroom because she could see the pain and despair in her students' eyes. But she knew she was only going to see them for 1 hour a day. And during that hour, all she was allowed to do was teach them their math lesson. Now she's got so much hope, and she's so happy, because at lunchtime she sees those kids at her Campus Life lunch club. And those kids are playing games, they're having fun, they're having just the most amazing time, including the young man who used to sit in the back of her classroom, always alone and always angry, and who secretly she used to worry, could he become the next school shooter? Now, what about the corrections officer, who, at a little twist, he was sad sometimes, oftentimes, when a youth would leave the detention facility. And he was sad because he knew that chances were that teen was going to be right back in a couple of weeks behind bars. But now, he's so grateful and excited because he knows our juvenile justice team is working with that team to help him. They're helping him mend relationships with his family so he can have a home to go to. They're working with him to get his GED and even get a job. It's awesome. It's truly awesome. So, this time last year, I was sitting where you're sitting. I was sitting there, and our new board chair, Althea Harris, applause, definitely applause. Our new board chair came up, and she said something that permanently changed me for the better. She said, I used to be involved in a lot of great causes, things that I believe in, and they do a lot of good. And I was sitting there like quietly nodding to myself, like, yeah, there's so many good causes, and I believe in them, and they're wonderful. She said, but then it hit her. What of those causes and what of those things was creating the most beautiful and profound change in a person's life for today and eternity? Whoa. It hit me too, like a ton of bricks. Like, wow. So yes, these causes are great, but could I be a part of doing even more? And that's why I'm here. And that's why I'm so excited. And that's why I have so much hope, because this is how we create bright and beautiful futures for our teens. And this is how we create bright and beautiful futures for our entire community. But I gotta tell you, I'm just a tiny, tiny part of this spectacular Youth for Christ tapestry. Will our team members, our board members, our volunteers, will you please stand up? Stand up. Everybody, these are the heroes. These are the heroes. Woo! Yes, yes. These are our spectacular leaders who literally pour faithfully into our youth every single day. They are our ambassadors for Christ. It is awesome. But I also want to thank each and every single one of you that's here today, because you are an important part of God's plan in our community. You are an important part of all of us coming together and showing our youth that they are important, that we care about them, and that we believe in them. It's awesome. And we need to grow our army of ambassadors exponentially, because there are hundreds of thousands of hurting youth just in Miami and Broward alone that we need to reach. We need to be the support system for these amazing and deserving youth. And yes, we need to be the lifeline for the adults in their lives, for the mothers, the fathers, for the teachers, the corrections officers. They need help too, and that's what we're here to do. So please enjoy today. Have a fantastic time. You're going to see some outstanding stories that are going to knock your socks off, I guarantee it. But I want to let you know that I am personally inviting each and every one of you to continue with us in this mission, because without your generosity, we can't do any of this. For the harvest is plentiful. That's right, but the laborers are few. So in your hearts, I hope you'll say with me, "Here am I, Lord, send me." Thank you.
Hey, my name is Angel Torrero. I am one of the site directors for the Juvenile Justice Team, and I'm so excited about this next segment within our virtual program. See, we're gonna be sharing some stories about students from our different ministries. And what I love about that is that every one of these students has a story to tell about how God is at work in their lives and how God has utilized Youth for Christ in our different teams in order to make an impact in their lives. And what's so cool about my story is that I'm not just a staff member here at YFC, but I'm also an alumni. See, at the age of 16, I landed in Miami's Juvenile Detention Center for the very first time. And my brokenness and my chaos collided with the transforming message of the gospel, because one of our very own missionaries, Glenn Craig, who has been on staff for 40 years, shared this message. And because of that message, I am here today. As I previously shared, I'm part of the Juvenile Justice Team, and today I will be presenting a video from our national office. But I think this video will bless you, so I hope that you will enjoy it and that you will commit to praying for juvenile justice youth all throughout our community.
All right, can everybody hear me? All right, hello, ladies and gents. My name is Antonio, and I'm in the 7th grade. The school I go to is West Homestead K-8 Center. So I'm here to talk about myself, you know. I see a lot of beautiful people, you know, yeah. Yeah, for 7th grade, I'm pretty tall, as you can see here. So yeah, let's just talk about myself real quick, all right? Technically, it all started when I was like a little kid, you know, like I used to love doing like geeky things, you know, like going outside, talking to friends, meeting new people, playing video games. And the type of video games I like playing is like Mortal Kombat, Street Fighters, Smash Ultimate, Sonic, yeah, etc., etc. So, Kicks is a special place that you can really go to have fun and meet new people, which I really enjoy doing. And yeah, they actually have some special lessons which they could use to like teach you about God, you know, and everything you can basically know about God. Like you can have different ways how to approach Him, you know, and yeah. And the special part I love doing is drawing. And my friends call me an artist, but I don't really consider myself as one. But I'm good enough to draw certain things. And as you also know, my boy Isaac over there, as you can see over there, the one with the camera, I really think of him as a very, very close friend of mine. And, you know, I love talking to him. Yeah, he's a very cool dude. He's a very, very cool dude. He's like me, very geeky, love playing video games. So yeah, my homie Isaac, he's like me in a different way, you know? Like, he's always himself, which is very understandable because I enjoy like spending time with him, talking to him, playing video games, you know, certain. And yeah, as y'all should know, he's a very, very interesting person. And the thing about God is that he's a real person, a real entity, you know? A creature, a spirit, a Holy Spirit. And God is a special thing you should know. If you don't, then what are you doing here? No, like honestly, if you don't know God, then where did you come from? How did you exist? I'm just being honest, you know? So, yeah. And if Kix wasn't here, I will basically forget about everything, you know? Like, I want to know everybody, like Macrina, Ace, Jules, Isaac, Jacaria, everybody that works there. And yeah, Kix is an amazing place that you should go to and have fun, you know? And thanks everybody for listening to about my story, all right? Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Daika. I'm 14 years old. I attend Linda NK8 through Center. I stay with my mom, my dad, my auntie, my uncle, my niece, and my cousin. My dad can't really see. He can only see partially, and he's a Christian and taught me to go to church and know about God. I started coming to North Miami Kicks when I was in 6th grade. Anita, my friend, invited me. I love the people, the activities. One of my favorite, wait, let's not do favorite, but a kick staff that really encouraged me was Miss Gael. We used to have these small groups where we talk about God, and one day we were just asking her all these questions about God. And I went home, I was reading my Bible, doing my research, and a week later, she asked, does anybody want to accept Jesus Christ as their Lord and Savior? And I automatically said yes. At first, at first, I was having struggle to accept Jesus Christ. I didn't know what to do or how to talk to him. I didn't know how to read my Bible, but I started reading my Bible. A funny thing actually happened. I was reading a verse, and I went to church, and they were preaching on the same verse. Last year during COVID, I became very distant with God. I wasn't reading my Bible. I forgot what I learned, and I wasn't coming to church, nor was I coming to the program. I was living in Georgia. I felt completely lost emotionally and mentally. I would cry for no reason. But this year, I'm back at Vibe City Church, where Kicks is at. It's super fun, super lit. I honestly feeling great. I read my Bible, I pray every night, and in the future, I hope that kids come to Kicks to find Jesus, because with Jesus, you can do a lot. Thank you.
What's good, y'all? How's everybody tonight? All right, y'all. So my name is Camila. I'm 13 years old. At Catalyst Hip Hop, I'm either known by Cam or Killer Cam. Javi knows that. He came up with that. Credits to him. Honestly, when I joined Catalyst, I was very distant from the Lord. I had started becoming an atheist. I completely lost my way. I didn't believe in anything anymore. All I knew was pain, and that's it. And that was when I had just entered into middle school. Catalyst was like a miracle. It was like God dropped it in my way. When I was 10 years old, my mom got thyroid cancer. Being the oldest child, I had to take a lot of extra responsibilities. Because of the stress and pressure, I ended up developing an eating disorder. And then self-harm started. And then the depression came like a wave that I felt like I was drowning in. This was all at 10 years old. I had no one but myself, and I wasn't believing in the Lord, so I felt like I was all alone. No one understood me. Nobody knew on the outside that I was suffering because I would put on a happy face for everyone but myself. I would look in the mirror and I tried to smile, but all I would see in my eyes was emptiness. I would be there for my sister and the rest of my family, but inside I was hurting. It was like I was trying to scream, but my head was completely underwater and I couldn't breathe. My smile was up, but my eyes held nothing but darkness. When I came to Catalyst, my leaders were really there for me, especially Joy and Javi. They would listen to me and give me space to talk about my problems. They told me I mattered and that I was loved and cared for, and that meant so much to me. Because growing up with my mom working, my mom being a single mother of two, my grandma always having to take me from place to place, and I never had a father figure. When those words came out of their mouths that I was loved, I felt so happy. I felt nothing but safeness and comfort. They helped me begin to conquer my eating disorder and my self-harm. Honestly, without Catalyst, I don't think I would be here anymore. I may have done something to hurt myself and affect others. This program has helped me get closer to God and helped me in ways I can never explain. Being closer to God has helped me with my anger, depression, and mental health. Now I get to spread the gospel to my friends. Tell them there is an amazing person, Jesus, who loves them and saves them and me. I am stronger than ever. I am 3 months eating disorder free. 3 months self-harm free. And at the age of 13, I am healed. Thank you.
Let's give it up for the students. Let's give them a big round of applause. Woo! Woo! That right there is not easy, ladies and gentlemen. That is a very, very difficult thing they just did. Man.
Hi friends, This is Althea Harris. I am the board chairman of Greater Miami Youth for Christ, and I am so glad that you decided to join us for our virtual Be the Story banquet. You've heard the stories, you know the challenges that young people face, and at Greater Miami Youth for Christ, we are meeting those challenges with the good news of Jesus Christ. Friends, you know the difference that giving makes. For God so loved the world, He gave. He gave us His one and only Son, Jesus, that if we'll believe in Him, we'll never die, but we'll have life eternal. And that is the good news that we're sharing with young people all throughout this county. And we want you to join us in this effort. This year is the year of Más students, more students saved with the gospel of Jesus Christ. Friends, you cannot take all that you have with you to heaven. There's no need for it there. Everything will stay here on the planet. You know, also, God expects you to be like Him, a giver. So won't you invest today in the life of a young person? Won't you give some life to their story by joining us at Miami Youth for Christ? What is God asking you to do today?
This is a story about possibility. What if we could reshape the values of a generation? What if we could restore faith to the young people in our community? What would it look like if teenagers started connecting instead of posting? What if they found a place where they could discover purpose and meaning? What if there were mentors willing to invest in their lives? What if they knew someone was willing to listen to their story? What if that someone then shared their story and ultimately explained the good news of God's story? Youth for Christ believes that those three stories hold the key to transforming a generation. For 75 years, Youth for Christ has been sharing the story of God's love with middle and high school students. And we observe that as the gospel story brings life to a young person's story, they perform better in school, get along with their family, learn to cope with anxiety and stress, feel better about themselves, have hope for the future, and feel a deep sense of purpose. In 2015, we began to dream about what it would look like to connect more leaders to the stories of teenagers in Miami. Teens without hope, purpose, or direction. Teens who were getting overlooked or falling through the cracks. Teens who would be the future of our city. In 2016, we laid out a bold 5-year strategic plan to multiply 7 program sites to 35, where 300 adult volunteers would be mobilized to connect with 6,000 teenagers. We want to break the cycle of crime by mentoring high-risk youth in juvenile justice centers and upon their release. We want to bring wholeness to more at-risk youth in under-resourced neighborhoods through City Life Kicks and Catalyst Hip-Hop Centers. We want to see more students have access to campus life programs at their school. We want to see more adults investing in the lives of young people. We want to see more church youth leaders trained to reach the youth inside and outside of their church. Today, 20 sites up and running, more than halfway towards our goal of 35. Nearly 8,000 youth are connecting to our programs. 75 leaders have been mobilized to share God's story, and 250 church youth leaders have been trained in effective youth ministry. We are even helping to expand the programs of Youth for Christ to Broward County. But what if we are only getting started? What if we could meet our goal of 35 sites and double the number of youth we serve? What if we could open 10 sites in Broward County? We would be close to reaching a tipping point where the minority could influence and inspire the majority. This is a story of possibility, after all, and it all starts with you. Yes, you. You are a critical piece to this story. No matter who you are, you have a role in seeing this vision realized. We need hundreds of adults to rise up and invest in this generation. Imagine the possibility when together we connect teenagers to God's story and faith is restored to this generation. Leaders are born, families are strengthened, schools are safer, communities are stronger. And with your help, possibilities become realities.